Welcome back, students of Night School Horror. As shadows lengthen in the second semester, prepare for a chilling curriculum. Unearth the unknown as we delve deeper into the abyss. This semester, we elevate the darkness where nightmares become lessons. Class is now in session. May you all survive this semester. In one piece.
Good evening, class. We have some very special guests with us today in the back of the room. I would strongly encourage none of you look them in the eye. Do not, just don't acknowledge them by name. Leave them back there. They're more for visual aid. All right. So therefore, when we take attendance, I'm not even going to mention them. That's for your safety, my safety, everyone's safety. We're not going to release them out of the room. But for those that I can mention, welcome everyone. I am Ace, Florida's favorite creep, Night School Horror's favorite creep, and hopefully your favorite creep. And I am here tonight, Night School Horror. For attendance, I would like to welcome our residential movie guy, baby, Mr. Tommy James.
Baby, I'm here. Yes, I'm, see, you started it rough because now I can't turn around. And if I turn around and whatever's behind me, now I already know that I'm walking into a horror class, but now I'm scared to turn around, and I tend to turn around a lot. So I'm going to try to keep my face forward, my eyes on the board. Keep my eyes right on the board right now.
Don't worry. They will, bring themselves to the front.
I don't like that you say they, though. Like, it's definitely more than one, and they, to me, is like a group.
Yeah, don't turn around. One at a time. They'll do their thing when they need to.
Not doing it. Not going to happen.
So I will say there is someone missing tonight. And it's okay, because I sent him out on a very special assignment. He is out in the field currently, getting everything that we need to cleanse this room when we are done. And that is our music man, our Who You Got champion, Mr. Malave.
Yeah, he gets the lucky one.
I'm not going to mention the days. That's his thing.
Yeah.
I've got my calendar. I know. Our viewers at home know.
They know.
It's fine.
Yeah, he's out right now because you know what it is, too. He's Espanol, he's Puerto Rican, so he's probably out in the fields right now, the sugarcane fields, and just trying to find something to get some sage. He knows he's got his auntie and his tia and whatnot, and he's probably got something to save us after this class is over.
He has the answers of how to get rid of this stuff, our special guests. But in the meantime, we are going to make a list. And Tommy, I am still reeling from Late Night with the Devil. I'm not sure how you're feeling right now, but I'm just still so excited.
I love it.
It is out in theaters right now.
It is in selected theaters.
It is out in selected theaters, and every showtime is during late night prime hours.
That's awesome.
And I love that. I love that they did that. I don't know if that was intentional or just because that's when the theaters wanted to show it, but I feel like it's so necessary.
Agreed. It fits what the movie's about. And it does. And as we we mentioned last week when we spoke about it, it's a phenomenal movie. It's definitely a must watch. It does come out in Shudder as well in April, I think April 11th. So
I think it's April 19th.
19th?
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's in April. It's
sometime during that
Shudder.
Week of April.
And it's a must watch. It's got to be seen. I've told many people, after we watched it, after we did the episode, I was like, listen, when you have an opportunity, please sit down, watch this movie. If you don't like it, you go fuck yourself. If you like it, great.
If you don't like it, I want to have a conversation with you about why you didn't like it. You are coming on the show.
Yeah. I'd like
You're coming on the show to tell us why you didn't like it.
Yeah, it better be a good fucking reason, too.
Yeah, because if not, we're just going to shit on you. It's a fantastic movie. But, because of that movie, it got me thinking about other movies that feature possession and where they stack up against each other. So that is our assignment today, Tommy. We are going to make a list of possessions.
Fantastic.
Specifically possessions in movies, and make a tier list of which ones are best to worst.
Great.
So I hope you're ready for this.
Yeah, I'm ready and prepared. Like, I do love, I'm a movie guy, baby. So I love the horror movies the most, but Possession was always like one of those ones where, I get scared. I get a little scared because I was raised Catholic and I went to church and they would talk about demons and the demons are going to get you and don't get possessed by the demons. I've watched many, many horror movies over the time and I don't really find myself to be afraid. Like I can go to bed that night, but when I watch a really good, possession type of movie, it's harder for me to sleep because entities and shadows and, there's something standing right there. I don't like that. It makes me feel uneasy and I get scared. So now we're going to have a full episode talking about the simple point of possessions in these films. And a lot of them that I have watched have fucked with me. So that's great. I'm glad to bring that back up again.
That makes me happy. Just don't turn around, Tommy. You'll be fine.
Keep saying it. It's not, I don't appreciate that.
I'm just wanting to really emphasize the point that you will be okay. Mm-hmm. Just face forward.
I remember.
Just to make this clear, we are not going to be talking about the movies themselves. I do have some bullet points. We are focusing on the possessions in the movies. Mm-hmm. So the movies themselves don't necessarily have to play any point in our analysis. However, if there is something that happens in the movie or something specific to the movie that we need to mention for these possessions, it will be brought up. So therefore, minimal spoilers to anyone listening.
Sure. That's fair.
The merits that we are going to be looking for are the host transitions. For instance, when the possession takes place, how they become possessed. Mm-hmm. 2, we look for the entity when it's primary. So I'll say, quote unquote, when they are in the driver's seat. How do they look? How do they make the host look?
Okay.
The mode of possession. So is it an item? Were they cursed? Do they, just wake up one day and have it? Do they have some sort of game that they played that opened up a door for this entity? Mm-hmm. And of course, the means of getting rid of it. How the hell do you get rid of it?
Yeah, gotta get rid of it. Sometimes you can't.
That's what Mr. Malave's up to.
Sometimes you can't get rid of it.
He's out trying to figure out how to get rid of these from the classroom.
We'll see about that.
I have faith in him. So you picked 4 movies, I picked 4 movies, and this is our first tier list. Mm-hmm. We have The Possession, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, of course, Late Night with the Devil, Paranormal Activity.
God damn it. I don't like
Exorcist,
that movie.
OG.
OG, yeah.
Well, that's the best thing, Tommy. We don't have to talk about that movie.
I know, but we still have to talk about it. So, it's still fucking hell.
But we have The Exorcist, OG. Mm-hmm. We have The Babadook.
Love it.
That one's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. We have The Evil Dead, 2013.
Yeah, the remake.
So, remake. And Idle Hands.
Yeah, Idle Hands.
I'm excited for you to talk about that one, Tommy.
Yeah, me too.
But out of those 8, we will once again be determining best to worst possession and where they stack up against each other.
Yeah. We could do it. I believe in us. We could definitely do it right.
I believe we do. Mm-hmm. I mean, all things considered, from all the movies that we have watched and all the possessions we have seen, you had already previously mentioned it. These are some of the only movies that really give me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I see slasher films. I see, creepy psychological thrillers. I see every type of horror movie that I can. Monster movies, hands down, probably are my favorite just for the sheer entertainment of it all. Mm-hmm. But these are some of those movies that are very hit or miss. You get those people that absolutely love them, go crazy for them, it's their favorite genre, or you get those that stay away from them and will never touch them, never watch them, just from the juju that they get. I mean, there's been promotions for some of these movies, especially The Exorcist, saying, don't watch it. It will, infect your life and bring the demons into your house.
Yeah. Yeah. People have thrown up watching some of these movies.
Yeah. So these are definitely ones that people either gravitate to or completely shun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I love these movies. Yeah. I'm so invested in these movies, so I'm ready to talk about them. Yeah. Are you ready, Tommy?
Oh, let's do it. Let's get it started in here.
Like we should start with The Babadook.
Oof. It's The Babadook. I liked that movie. I do. I really like that movie.
I enjoyed that movie. It's different. It's one of those more like psychological possessions versus
it is because it's more focused with depression.
Yes. Depression and grief.
And grief, yes. Depression, grief, and just overall stress.
Yes. The stressors that come with all of those emotions all at once. And it's not a slow burn. It's a quick things feel wrong from the beginning.
Oh yeah. The way this movie is shot too, very gray, very rainy kind of, that I like to stick to the grayness of it because like the way everything like the clothes themselves, it's not really poppy. You're not getting very light clothing in it. The acting in it is very depressing, very like monotone when speaking until she fucking loses her shit. Just shut the fuck up. And you're like, holy shit. Cause that kid's just wild. The kid is fucking crazy. But
you mentioned how stress plays a factor, and I definitely felt stressed for her watching this.
Right.
For our host, so.
And it was, I know when we were at MegaCon, we spoke about this movie, and I mentioned how, like, I beat the shit out that kid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit. Oh, please, would you please? No. Wonk. Like, shut the fuck up. And it's not the kid's fault in the long run because he's grieving too.
Right.
He's dealing with a lot of shit, but the way he's acting, like, you got to give a beating sometimes. And it's not illegal to hit your kids. That is a fact. The kid is a bad kid. You as a parent can whoop once in a while. I didn't say beat him to a bloody pulp. But
there's a difference between parenting and discipline versus beating the shit out of your kid.
Yeah, versus trying to murder somebody. But this kid deserved a good spanking, let's say, or a nice chop right in the fucking mouth. Maybe get a little bloody lip or something, so he can maybe possibly learn a lesson here. But she was going through so much shit that just wasn't the case. And I love the fact because we were talking about like the possession side. It starts in a very slow way of like the book being introduced and whatnot, and that's how it starts to play a little bit more. And like I said, the acting in this is phenomenal. This is like a really good fucking movie.
I do like that they emphasize the stress on both parties because this possession really takes over one person as a host, but plays a part for both parties in this family. It is big that both of them are experiencing some type of stressor, that both of them are experiencing grief, and they're experiencing it together, but in very different ways. Like, the mom's experiencing it in loss and loneliness, and she's experiencing it in being the single parent and really having to take on the mantle of taking care of herself and a child. All while somebody is trying to tell her, like, if you're not okay, you could just say something. And even when she does say something, nobody listens to her.
Right.
Versus the kid who's getting bullied all to hell. So in this movie, it is very important that their interactions with others play on the stress or the loneliness or the grief side where nobody's listening to them. Nobody's really giving them the attention that they need to help themselves to move past this.
Right. And the one thing too, like with her, with the stress and the depression and whatnot, is because, and it's important, this is a very important part, especially with the movie, is her husband dies in a car accident, a very vicious car accident, while she was in labor. So she's technically blaming the child for the death of her husband, who she really loved. So that's where that animosity comes into play with him that's why with him acting that way, she's just like, why won't you fucking shut up? I'll kick your ass. Like, she just hated the child because in her whole life, she's like, I lost the person I wanted because of you. Like, because of you. In her world,
it's like a bargaining. Like, if I could trade him for you, I would.
Which is kind of what the whole purpose was.
Yep.
But yeah, I always said, like, this movie, again, well acted. Easy Davis, whatever she wants to, however you say it. It's an Australian film, and she was phenomenal. The makeup in it, they made her look like she was like almost 60 years old. How old she looks in it, she's not that. She's
just for being tired and run down.
Yeah,
and experience.
And she was like 40 something when she did that movie. She looks horrible in the movie, but well deserved, and she was phenomenal in it. And even when she finally gets possessed, I mean, shit gets fucking crazy when she's possessed, because now you're finding yourself rooting for her the entire movie. But after the Babadook ends up actually possessing her, I mean, now she's going after the kid, and now you actually, as an audience member, jump ship, because now you're like, no, don't kill the kid. He's just a kid. First, you're all about kick the kid's ass. Then you're going, wait, no, don't. I didn't say kill him, though. I'm not saying grab the knife, stab him in his throat. So I like that jump ship.
Eternal punishment.
Yeah, we're not asking for the kid to die. I mean, come on now, but I love that possession. Just the fact that with the book plays a whole factor, and the nursery rhyme to it, and she tries to get rid of the book, but it shows back up. So the whole purpose of possession was strictly for her. It knew what it wanted. It's like, I'm coming after you. I'm gonna get you. And in the long run, we learn towards the end that we all have one in us.
So let's get into that possession side. The means of the possession was the book.
Yes.
How do you think that book got there, Tommy?
The entity.
Because she's looking at the book going like, I didn't buy this. How the hell did this get here?
The entity.
So do you think that the entity lives in the book and just materializes when it senses that weakness?
Something like that. I mean,
or do you think that
doesn't really explain how the book showed up?
House? They only find it when they need to.
I think that route that you're taking there makes more sense. Hence why I even said towards the, with we all have one in us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it is. It's like she came to the point of where it was time. It was time for the Babadook to appear. And that motherfucker's creepy as shit. I like his top hat, though. I'm not going to lie. I love his top hat. I
like his crazy hands.
I like his hands, but I love his top hat. And I feel like
he's very formal.
He is very formal, but he likes to party, so I feel like he comes in there and he's just like, listen, I'm here to party. I'm here to do some possession shit, kill some children, and get the fuck up out of here. And again, he's not like super duper scary. Like, I didn't find myself being afraid in this movie. Because
more like just kind of like
I was down.
Confused.
No, I was more down.
Like I want to see how it plays out.
Let's go with this. And if you've ever watched What We Do in the Shadows, the Babadook shows up, and he's just there to party. He's got a top hat and he's ready to party. So I didn't find myself, like I said, I didn't find myself being scared. But I agree with you. I think everybody has a Babadook waiting for that right moment, and that's where the book kind of comes into play, because she has to read the book, and the kid is actually interested in the book as well, which is actually pushing it out more. And then eventually, ba-boom, and it's game time. And now he don't want to play with the Babadook at that moment. He's, oh shit. And that's what makes you more question too, with this movie, like as we say, possession. Was it true possession? Obviously, in movie we see it go into her, but the truth is it possession, or did she just fucking snap? That's why I like this movie.
That's where it comes into play of mental health issues and how these types of entities play on weaknesses, because it could be that she just absolutely freaking snapped. Mm-hmm. And it could be a type of symbolism for the Babadook is the most primal part of ourselves that just want to act on instinct.
Right.
Because let's be real, if that kid was anywhere near me just screaming all the time, and like it definitely plays in the movie of, him keeping her awake because he's scared of the Babadook after being interested in the book, and like keeping her up all the time and not being able to let her sleep. So sleep deprivation on top of grief, on top of loss, on top of depression, all of that's going to come to a head somehow.
Yeah.
It just came out in the form of her trying to murder her kid.
Right. And it does say in the book, too, that you can't get rid of the Babadook. That's the whole point. Like, everyone has a Babadook. You can't get rid of it. But eventually, if it comes out, you might be in a little bit of trouble. So I feel like that's the whole thing. Like, when we talk about possession and whatnot, it's like, yeah, we see it. She's laying down. She sees it crawl on the wall, jumps in, it goes right inside of her. But we have to ask, is it more possession or is it she just fucking snaps? And
I feel like it's a little of both.
Yeah, sure. Because it's still a movie, like they're using the possession part of a movie.
But I mean, for her sake, I feel like she was trying to suppress that so much, and she might have finally given in as her snap.
Yes.
So I feel like it was a little bit of both. It was her snapping, but to the point where she just kind of steps away. Babadook's in the driver's seat.
Yes. Which is great.
So
it's phenomenal.
For the sake of wrapping that up, the way she gets rid of it, because you don't get rid of it.
No, the book says you can't get rid of it. Yeah.
So in this term, the way she gets rid of it, quote unquote, gets rid of it, it's her learning to tame it and how to deal with it.
Keep it like a pet.
Yeah. It's her kind of treating it as if she's taming a wild animal.
Yes.
It's locked up in the basement. She feeds it.
Yes.
She, controls how far or close away it gets to her via the camera POV. Like it's very, I don't know how to put it, because it's almost like getting over an illness or trying to maintain your mental health while also dealing with this thing that could potentially come back at any moment.
Right. And it's just about the inner demons. How can you hold on to your inner demons and keep them at bay, keep them away until, maybe you may need it one day, or, maybe you're just trying to, because like we said, you can't get rid of it. Everyone has one. And at the end of the movie, they did a really great job with the whole metaphor to just have it tamed, where it's chained up in the corner. You don't see it. You just see black. And then she gives it food. So she feeds it like it's my animal. And when I need the animal, it's there for me. But the whole point is she's trying to just keep it over here, keep it in the basement, keep it locked away. But as we know, you can't do that. Taking care of
herself.
Correct. But as we know, like that's not really what you're supposed to do with it. Because if you try to keep and hold your demons inside, eventually the demon's going to come out again. So if they ever made a Babadook 2, there's no reason to do it, but if they ever did, it'd probably be more wild.
I want to see everybody walking around with their Babadooks like on a leash, like dogs. They're like, oh yeah, mine's more aggressive, or like mine's a little sad.
Like he's got a top hat and a chain. He likes chains, so we put a chain on him. And he's got a little. This one's got a whistle. He likes the whistles. Each Babadook is a little different. He
likes to party. He's got glow sticks.
This one likes to party. He's got the Kanye West shades on with his top. They all have top hats, though. Everybody has to have a top hat. They all have top hats. They have to have a top hat. And
varying colors.
Yeah, different colors, different suits, because he wears a suit too. I'm telling you, man, this guy's very formal,
very dapper,
very dapper. But he's always here to party, and he's here to possess, and he's here to kill people, based on depression and fucking. Just horrible ways. Based on your weaknesses. And again, that movie is fucking phenomenal. I know there's a bunch of people that actually don't like it, but I really enjoyed it. I love psychological thrillers, and that to me, though it's a possession movie, is very psychological, and it's great. And she's phenomenal. She's phenomenal in it.
So, in your best movie guy opinion, where do you think this stacks up on our list? Just 1 through 8. Where would you put it?
Based on the backstory of it, probably, because I'm looking at the list right now. So,
just based on the possession itself.
Based on the possession itself, probably a 7. I'd put it more low because the possession's nothing too insane. It's what happens afterwards that's a little more crazy, or more the lead up to it. Backstory. So, but if just possession itself, I would probably have to say it's a 7.
I would agree on that. It definitely feels like the possession side of it plays a minimal part, because when shit really hits the fan and it finally takes over, it possesses her. We see it maybe for 10 to 12 minutes.
Maybe if that, maybe even less.
Yeah. And it's really everything leading up to the possession that plays a part on why the possession was important.
Correct.
So I would definitely rate it lower, just because the possession itself wasn't the forefront of the problem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There were definitely bigger and more concerning issues present before the possession took place.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
So, yeah, 7 feels pretty right about it. So I'm gonna
go with 7.
Jot that down.
I'm gonna go with 7 on that one.
For our 7. All right. Next, I think we should talk about The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh boy, I saw this in the theater.
Oh, how was it in theater? Because I saw it at home.
So that was a long
and had a very different experience.
That was a long time ago. It was 2005, so I was just graduating high school, and it's all right. Here's when I walked out, I didn't like it. I didn't like it when I walked out. I guess because I was expecting more crazy, not like a courtroom drama. So, but as I watched it. Way later, I haven't watched it in a long time, but way later on, I ended up sitting down and watching it again, and it's a very good movie. I actually found myself enjoying it more a little bit later on when I really started to sit down and truly watch the movies and really pay attention and watch what's actually happening. The one scene that till this day haunts me is when she's with the boyfriend in the dorm room. And then he wakes up and she's not there and she's flipped over and her mouth opens. And, I do not like that scene. I remember in theater going, what the fuck? Like, that was the scene. That's the scene that's going to make me not sleep tonight. But otherwise, I don't think it was too scary. It was a fine movie. As you get older, you can appreciate it a little bit more. And I don't even remember how she got possessed. Because, like I said, I haven't seen it in a while.
So this movie is interesting because I remember, and again, back in 2005, I was like going into middle school. It was a very different perspective for me. This movie scared the shit out of me back then.
Why?
And it was because it was one of the first of its kind that I had ever seen, like this type of possession movie.
Okay, yeah.
It was one of the first possession movies I had ever really sat down and watched. And it wasn't with my mom. Mama Ace, who graciously used to watch every horror film with me. So, I felt that sense of protection. I watched this at a friend's house where her brother was a dick and decided right at the part, you remember the part where she's in the barn screaming like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yes.
6. And she's like bent over backwards screaming. And then the minute, the priest says like, tell me your name. And she just screams like, I am the one that dwells within.
Does she have like multiple people in her?
Yeah, she had like 6 or 7 demons in her.
Yeah, like she was like a fucking house of demons.
Yeah, it was we are the ones that dwell within.
Right.
It was pretty much like Legion, we are many. But her dick of a brother cut the lights off at that point, so like everything went dark. And then he banged on the fucking door. So we basically shit ourselves.
Sure.
But this movie, I remember looking through it, and it's based off true events, not based off a real story, but based off true events, because there was a court case where a priest was being trialed for negligent homicide in the terms of performing an exorcism. And, they kept saying, like, again, it plays off mental health because they said Emily Rose was, mentally ill and needed help, and to see a doctor professionally, she was not possessed. And the priest says, no, she hands down was possessed. We as the viewer see everything that happened.
Yes.
Of course, not with the true story, but we see everything that happened in the terms of this film that constitute a possession.
Yes.
And not some sort of mental health issue that, a pill can fix.
Yeah,
a pill cannot fix your exorcisms.
No, not this way.
It cannot fix your possessions.
No, not at all.
So I remember this movie scaring the shit out of me mostly because it was like, oh, it's based off true events. And here's the story. And it's like, me now knows that when it says based off true events, it's like a stretch of something.
Yeah.
Back then, when I was a dumbass little kid, I'm thinking, holy shit, this is all real.
I thought the same with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was like, that was a real thing, not realizing it was really based like Ed Gein and like all that together. But you're sitting there going, don't go to Texas because there's a guy out there with a chainsaw and Leatherface and shit. Like, no, it's based on, true events or actual events. It's not. It's just exaggerated from something that actually did happen and they just really
somebody
bizarre.
heard a story and then told a different story based off their thought on that.
And made it scarier. That's welcome to horror. That's what it does.
And it's perfect. It's beautiful. That's why we're here. That's why we're physically in this classroom.
For real.
But the exorcism of Emily Rose. Let's talk about the transition when she's in the driver's seat versus when the demon's in the driver's seat. Like, what does it look like for Emily?
Okay.
Because I specifically remember a scene where she's in bed and she looks very sick and she's looking at her family. And then when this demon takes over, it's almost like her neck snaps and you hear like the snapping of bones and then the head turns. So it looks like a very painful transition for her from Emily being there to the demon.
Sure. I haven't seen it in a really long time, so I can't really tell you about the possession part. All I know is that she's upside down at one point and her mouth opens and she screams. And I didn't like that part.
Yeah. It's like the scene that you're talking about with the boyfriend too of, she was in bed, just chilling in the dorm room, hanging out. And then the next minute he wakes up and she's, twisted on the floor.
Like crab walk,
staring directly
shit.
at him and her mouth agape.
That part was
fucking painful.
That part was rough. Yeah, because she's like, her mouth opens and she does that scream, that screeching scream to him. And her eyes are all black. Like it's some fun. That's a fucking scene right there. Like that should, like I said, haven't seen it in a long time, but I'll never forget that scene. And that's Jennifer Carpenter right there. And she's in White Chicks. Buddy. When she's in White Chicks, she's like, look at the fat man. She's grabbing herself. And I'm like, that's Emily Rose right there.
It's silly. It's such a contrast.
Yeah, it's like I said, that movie. I would like to watch it again. I'm sure, I eventually I could watch it again. So I don't really know what she looks like when she's possessed because again I haven't seen it in so long. But I'll always remember that one scene. And Tom Wilkinson's in it, and he's the priest, and he's awesome.
Yes. So if we're just going for like mode of possession. I know you don't remember the mode of possession.
No.
I actually don't either because I just remember.
Doesn't it just happen?
The story was like, she grew up going to church. Like she, I think, was Catholic and she, was a good girl all her life and then went off to college. And then this happened.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was no real discernible reason of like, well, how did this happen? And I remember the parents asking, how did this happen? And it's like, nobody truly had an answer of how it happened. Making it a little more scary because it's like, oh, so it could just happen to anyone.
It can just happen. I think
it can just happen.
If you're basing it on true events and life events, like, actual events, quote unquote, they didn't know. So for the movie, they were like, we're just talking, just make shit up. I mean, we're exaggerating shit, obviously. But if we don't have a legitimate reason why, like she was into this type of shit or like the craft kind of stuff, well, we don't have that. So maybe it just kind of happens.
That was the air of mystery that they had in the storytelling that I really appreciated at the time because it really drives home that it could happen to anyone at any time because even the parents didn't know. They said, she went off to college. What type of stuff was she into in college? Nothing. Everyone that they took interviews for that court case that they had in the movie, I will specify in the movie, I'm not talking about the actual court case, said that she was a sweet girl, that she always, went to studies. And then one day she just started, falling off and, not sleeping so well and constantly waking up at the witching hour of, 3 a.m. And
that was the other thing. That was the other thing in the movie that got me. It was the priest you would smell burning at a certain time at night. And
3 a.m. the witching hour.
The witching hour
of the Holy Trinity.
And he would get up but there were points like he knew not to get up. He was like, no, you don't get up at this moment because that's how it gets you. Like you have to just let it pass. Gotta let it
Pretty
pass.
much acknowledging its presence at that time when you smell like the sulfur or the rotten eggs or the burning smell.
Correct.
Like, that is
and
what
you just leave it alone.
The power over you. You're like, nope. 3 a.m. you wake up and you smell rotten eggs. You don't fucking move.
Nope. You stay in bed or go under the blankets. Go under the blankets, turn around.
The blankets will save you.
The blankets will always save you, but don't get up and go towards it because it's just waiting for you. It's just like, hey, here I am, I'm going to get you. Doesn't he get up though?
It's announcing its presence.
Like, doesn't he get up though, like later on and goes and challenges it technically?
He does, because he was going to back out. I think it was before he said yes to performing the exorcism because he was like, I don't have enough evidence of this case, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. He wakes up at 3 a.m., smells the burning smell, goes downstairs and he sees the shadow of a figure on his door, like his glass door.
Okay.
And that is when he was like trying to challenge it, saying like, why are you here? And that's when he had like the feeling of dread and then realized that he needs to go help Emily.
Right.
So that was like the turning point for him when he was like, oh shit, this thing is real and it's telling me that it's here. Like I need to go save this girl.
Right.
And really the entity fucking with her and him at the same time feels a little weird to me.
Yeah,
like
it's a little strange.
If it wants her, it already has her. Why is it trying to give him an option to help?
Like, why bother Tom Wilkins right now? You know, we don't need to buy Tom Wilkinson right now.
It's 3 a.m. Let him sleep.
Yeah, he's tired. He's an old man, you know, and you're just like, well, I got her, so I'm gonna go play with you too. Like, I don't think that's how that works. I don't think you can you already have her. You're already inside. How are you just gonna worry about him now?
Right. But at that point, I also remember the entity showing itself to the lawyer. The lawyer was taking on the case for
I gotta watch this movie again.
Like, oh, you know, you do, because there's a lot of moving parts to it. But I remember the lawyer was like, oh no, I'm not going to take this case. Like it's homicide and you're a priest, and like what the heck happened? She reads over the case file, and he, you know, is talking to her while he's in the prison cell, going like, well, do you believe in God? And she's like, no, I can't say that I do. And he was just like giving her all of these things of, hey, you know, here's backstory and like exposition, you know, go watch the movie. Talking strictly about the entity, the lawyer is at home and she again wakes up at 3 a.m. with that weird smell.
Okay.
Looks, and like the case file's on the floor.
Okay.
So then she's like, all right, maybe I need to look into this more. And she's like reading up on it. And then like, I forget what happens with her, but then she just decides to change her mind and take on the case for the priest. And it's like, all right, so this entity is now showing itself to 3 different people in terms of getting this case going. Why?
Right.
And that's, again, probably movie magic. It's nothing to do with the true story. But based off the possession with this movie, it's got Emily all fucked up, and it's just kind of like egging these other 2 people on.
Sure. I gotta watch it again.
Yes. But going back to our list, the mode of possession is completely unknown.
Correct.
We don't know. Everyone in the story doesn't know. They don't know how Emily got it.
Nope.
The look of the entity when it's in the driver's seat, considering she has multiple ones.
Yeah.
Like she's just a circus tent for demons.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Wasn't Hitler one of them?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember what all ones
I think there was 12.
She harbored.
There's 12, right?
I can't remember if it was 6, 12. Like I don't remember how many.
I thought there was a moment. Again, it's a while, but I thought there was.
Like I know when she's in the barn, she's sitting there going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, maybe it is 6. I'm like.
And so like when he said, you know, what is your name? And she screams names.
Yeah,
really fucking loud, and
like,
he says names, and she says, we are the ones that dwell within. So he says, what are your blank names, 6 names, whatever. And then she lists off like 6 names, and it's supposed to be like some of the disciples of Jesus, or like
there was
ones that betrayed him.
There is 1,
like
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It says 7.
7 then.
Then now it says 6. It doesn't even know what the fuck it is.
I remember Lucifer himself was in there.
Yeah, right. Supposedly Lucifer was in there. Maybe that's what it is. She says Lucifer.
She says like a bunch of names.
And you're like, oh, the
and
devil.
You're like, oh, fuck, there's more.
The devil. First off, why does the devil need sidekicks? I don't need 6 names. If I'm the devil and I'm going to possess you, I don't need 5 other friends to come. That's enough for you.
See, I'm assuming like he runs it kind of like a business. He's just like, yeah, I'm the CEO, but like I got branch managers.
Okay? Like, so here, check
and
this
then
shit
they
out.
just decide to have a party inside of Emily.
Yeah.
He's like, hey guys, staff meeting. Get in here.
Can you see like an auction going on for these like demons? They're all sitting there and like all in a row, and it's just like, okay, so we have this young lady right here, Emily Rose. I love the name. And you see somebody like, I love the name too. It's a great name. All right, here we're gonna go. How many souls? How many souls? How many souls? I'm gonna go 2 souls, 3 souls, 5 souls. You see them all put. It's like, wow. It's like there's a lot of people. You know what, guys? I'm gonna do something special for you. We're gonna go with 5 demons in one. And because she's such a bitch, I'm going in too. We're going to have so much fun with this little girl. And
it's a 6-for-1 sale.
6-for-1 sale. Sold to Hitler for 5. Like, what?
Hitler for 5.
Hitler for 5. What? Hold on. That would be a funny skit, not going to lie. A funny skit, not going to lie.
I feel like there is a movie out there with Hitler possessing something. And I will get back to you on that because I'm pretty sure
I guarantee that definitely. It's probably a pineapple.
I've seen.
Little Nicky,
Probably.
It's a pineapple.
I love that. But yeah, so she's got a whole mess of fucking demons inside of her.
Yeah, she's just
we
all
don't know how
fucked
that
up.
happened. They crack her bones, which, I mean, let's be real. If there's a bunch of things in one and you're trying to rearrange yourself, it's going to get messy. You know, it's probably a little crowded in there. So I imagine it's super painful for Emily in that transition. And the means of getting rid of it,
she dies,
are awful because they are performing an exorcism. And I remember the climax of the exorcism. You know, Emily is in that misty field in front of their farm, and you see the priest there with her, and it seems like they're knee deep, elbow deep in this fucking exorcism. And she turns to him and says, like, I am at peace here, and I feel like I can go. And at that point, you realize her dying is the only way to get rid of these demons. Right. However, the exorcism was a valiant effort to try.
Sure.
But there are just too many. She's overwhelmed, so she has to die. So to get rid of these demons, the host has to die.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the whole trial in play.
Yeah, correct.
So, yeah. At that point, where do we feel like this possession stacks up on this list? Like 1 through 8, excluding 7. Where do you feel like this possession itself takes
I'm gonna go
on our list?
I mean, I'd give it a 4. You know, there's a lot of demons in there. Again, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I feel like, you know, that shit is just wild and she's all fucked up and there's no means to save her. She can't be saved. So I think most of these, they could be saved. There's always a way to be saved. She was fucked at this point. So maybe,
100%.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe not even a 4. Maybe a 3. Maybe a 3 because, you know, she's just got nowhere to go. She's got
I was going to say, I feel like it's more than a 4.
Yeah.
But not the number 1 spot.
No, I wouldn't give it 1, but it's definitely a 2 or a 3. So I'm going to leave it up to you, but I'm on 2 and 3.
Between 2 and 3?
Definitely. Definitely between 2 and 3, just not number 1.
I feel like it's 3 for me.
All right, that's fair. We can go with 3.
Only because I feel like she was fucked from the beginning.
Yeah, she was screwed.
Like, it doesn't matter what you did, whether you did an exorcism,
devil in her.
Whether you took her to the doctor and they gave her this magic pill that's supposed to fix her. Like, I feel like from the very beginning of her possession, she was fucked. There was no going back.
Yeah.
There's no saving her.
No, she's got the devil in her.
Yeah. It results in her dying, like the host dying to release these demons back into the wild. That takes on a lot. The snapping of her bones, the way they all inhabit the one host, and really nobody's in the driver's seat.
No, they're taking turns. Again, it's just an auction. Give me 5 souls, for 3 souls, 4 souls. Let's go. All right, you're up first. Here we go. Driving.
But even that, when she's in the barn and she's screaming, "We are the ones that dwell within," who's saying that?
Probably.
Is it collectively all of them using one voice, or is it just, the CEO over there telling everyone, like, no, we all up in this bitch?
Probably. I could see him sitting there being like, no, this is all of us. All right.
How dare you interrupt our staff meeting?
For real. We were literally in the barn just figuring out our next plan, and you just kind of come in here. So who's in here? All of us are in here, bitch.
Yeah. So I feel like it's a solid 3 on our list.
That's fair. We could give it a 3.
So we're going to give it a 3.
Number 3.
All right. Next up, I feel like we need to talk about The Exorcist.
Okay.
OG Exorcist. Let's talk about Reagan as our host. Reagan is the host here.
Yes, Reagan is the host. The host of the most. So
I'm going to need you to tell me, how did this transition look for her?
She looks fucked up in this transition. Like, she is all messed up. And it happens pretty quickly. You know, like they make it seem more of a slow burn, but I mean, 1 second she's just normal, and then the next second she's got like the scars on her face, the eyes immediately change, the voice changes, like, and there's no going back. You know, there's no moment at that point where she just turns back into Reagan. She's just straight up, you know, fucking demon in this shit. And the hair is greasy. Like I said, the color of the skin is more like yellowy. Just wild.
It changes her appearance almost completely.
Immediately. It's a complete, like that one scene, you know, when she's doing the back and forth and then she stops and then you see the fucking thing. I hate that scene. And her eyes go go white. And she's like, yeah. That always got me. That fucked with me all the time. So to me, that's just wild. And her possession is a complete overhaul. She's just a new painting, a new picture. And again, the voice changes, you know. Wild, but phenomenal.
It's probably one of the most iconic to me because if you see the compare and contrast before her possession to when she's possessed, she is a completely different person. The only thing that matches is her height. Well, her body has a complete transformation.
Her body has a complete transformation. She's just a little girl, so she has the same size. But Pazuzu knows what he's doing, all right? Pazuzu's not fucking around. Pazuzu's like, I'm in this shit. I'm going to fuck this bitch up. And all Pazuzu was thinking was, I needs to kill Father Maris. That's it. That's all he cares about.
That is his goal.
He had a goal. He stuck to his goal. He won in the long run.
Yeah.
I meant to say Father Karras and Father Marin. Father Marin, that's who. So his main thing was Father Marin. Father Karras is the other one that gets involved as well. But he knew, Pazuzu knew what was going down. And that's why he's like the possess of the possessors. Like he's number one. You got Lucifer, but you got Pazuzu. And Pazuzu just fucking destroyed Reagan.
I feel like Pazuzu's one step down from CEO.
He might be CEO. And Lucifer gave it to him. Like, he's just like, you know what? You're pretty good at this. I'm going to give this to you.
Like, anytime I'm out, you're running it.
Like, you're owning this shit, man. Like, every time I'm on vacation, you just taking it to another level. But for some reason, it's always children. Like, you're always after the kids.
I mean, we talk about weaknesses, and kids don't have life experience enough to,
it's easy.
They haven't been around long enough.
They're
easy targets, easy prey.
It is. It's an easy grab.
Do you remember the mode of possession? Like what it was that possessed her?
Ouija board.
Ouija board. Thank you.
Yeah, because she was. I was playing
like,
with
I know
Uncle
it was
Howdy.
An item, but like, what the fuck was it?
She was playing with Uncle Howdy.
Yeah.
And she was
so
like,
at that point,
got a friend, Uncle Howdy.
Classic Ouija board stuff.
Yeah, just straight. And they kept it very simple. Just straight up Ouija board.
Opens the door. What comes through that door? We don't know.
That's fine. And you can accept that. You can sit there. You can go, yep, that works. Cool. I like it.
Yeah. It also adds to, don't fuck with Ouija boards.
Never do.
In real life. Most people will not fuck with a Ouija board because of that movie.
Yeah. I agree. 1,000%.
And at that point, I mean, the exorcism does get rid of it. By the end of the movie for her. I mean,
it's not really that. It's not the exorcism that did it, though, because the Father Marin dies during the exorcism. It's more of Father Karras saying, why do this? Why are you going after a little girl? Come in me. And then he throws himself down the stair. Like he falls out the window. Well, he jumps out the window because he realizes, oh no. And he jumps out the window, rolls down those stairs, and then he dies. But in number 3, we find out he didn't die. But at least to conclude the Exorcist, he dies.
Yes.
So that's how they get rid of it.
During the exorcism is when it changes hosts based on him demanding it to do so.
Correct. But it wasn't the exorcism that did. It didn't do anything. The exorcism did nothing. She was still possessed. The only thing was it chose to go to him instead of staying with her. And then he was trying to kill her. He was going to go and try to kill her, so she would have been dead anyway if Father Karras didn't have the strength to realize what was happening and to then jump out the window in the long run.
So at this point, again, it's still killing your host.
Killing the host, right.
To get rid of it.
Yes.
Quote unquote, get rid of it. We realize, like, in future movies, it doesn't actually get rid of it, but for the sake of this movie, that is the end of it for that movie.
For that movie, and then in number 3, still has to kill the host. He shoots him.
Right. But just for the sake of the first movie. We could get in the tier list for franchises if we need to, but like,
sure.
For the sake of The Exorcist, that is the end of it.
Killing the host
is killed.
Kill the host.
So, again, it's kind of up there with Emily Rose.
Number 1. The possession itself.
Number 1?
The possession itself is number 1.
I would agree with that 100%. Because again, it completely changes Reagan's appearance. It completely changes the host's mannerisms.
Mm-hmm.
It 100% takes over, and you are no longer in the driver's seat at all. You have no control.
Nope. 0.
It uses Reagan's voice against the priests.
Mm-hmm.
So it now can take over anything it wants from her.
Agreed.
She is no longer there.
No.
She's there, but like...
Well, she's there because when you lift the stomach and you see it say, like, help.
Yeah.
She's there.
She's there, but like, in terms of
doing shit.
the car analogy, she's not the passenger. She's all the way in the fucking trunk.
She is in the trunk 1,000% with a locked fucking... It's a locked trunk, and it ain't going to be one of those, like, safeties where you can punch your way out. Like, she ain't getting out unless Pazuzu decides, I'm going to get the fuck up out of here. And that's how that had to happen. He needed to leave because she wasn't getting out.
So I agree with you. I would say that's the number 1 possession for me.
Yeah, I would say 1,000% that's number 1. And then, you know, then in Repossessed it happens again because the movie's fucking hilarious. You should talk about that movie one day.
We should talk about the movie.
It was great. So yeah, number 1 for sure.
All right. Exorcist in the top spot.
Yeah.
Next we're going to talk about one of the great favorites. We're going to talk about The Evil Dead.
Ooh.
But specifically the remake.
The remake.
2013.
Yes, the remake. I like this movie a lot.
I love this movie. I
know when I first seen it, I saw this movie in the theater as well. I came out thinking, wow, that shit was fucking wild. But I'm such a big Evil Dead fan. So like, to me, I was unsure if I liked it as an Evil Dead movie or I liked it as like a separate kind of movie where I was like, this is more gory. This is more fucking like insane kind of fucking dirt fucking kills, you know, like when she cuts her fucking face, like that shit is why you hear it. And like that shit is wild. And then when you see it, you're like, holy shit, like this is nuts. So I mean, when she gets Mia, when she's in the fucking woods and she gets fucking tied up and then the girl's right in front of her and you're like, oh man, like shit's about to go down and it goes right up her fucking skirt and wild.
It's a quick possession.
It's very quick
so quick.
And I appreciate what they did with this movie because at first I didn't. And in a sense, because I felt like, I'm like, man, I don't feel like this is an Evil Dead movie. Mainly because it's not funny. And Evil Dead is supposed to be jokey and funny at the same time. Then later on, again, I watched it again. And I was like, no, this fucking movie is great. This is a awesome remake. And they got it. Jane Levy was really good in this fucking movie. As even when she's possessed, like when, you know, that whole... we're gonna get you. Like the way they did it with her and how she's the first one to be possessed, but is the survivor, the only survivor in the whole entire movie. And again, you know, this is Necronomicon, you know, somebody has to read it just because people are idiots and we got to read things that just shouldn't be read. But when they all start getting possessed, that shit is wild. Best possession though is the fucking girl with the glass and cutting her fucking face up. Fucking awesome.
Hands down.
Fucking great.
Hands down. That scene lives in my brain rent free all
when
the fucking
she just
time.
turns,
if I want to talk about gore and horror, that scene is my go-to.
She just turns and you're like, oh, hi. Like, I don't know what I would say. Like, if I saw that, I would look at it and be like, wow, like you're not doing too hot, Olivia. Like, what's going on over here? I gots to goes. And this is Fede Alvarez we're talking about as the director. This man's insane, and he's doing the new Alien movie. I'm really excited because it's going to be so gory.
I'm excited about that, too.
The possessions are simple, just the same way that the Evil Dead is. We can't see the entity type of shit. I did like, and I bring it back to Olivia, the glass chick, where she's just completely normal, and then out of nowhere she gets like that twitch, and just, she's twitching, and then she starts pissing her fucking self, and then the next scene is, and you're like, oh, let's go, like she's fucking bugging right now, and she doesn't stay possessed very long because they kill her pretty quickly, but yeah, the eyes. The color of the eyes that change, where it's like that yellow red. They did this in Evil Dead Rise the same way that she was. But the possession in this movie is better than the possession in Evil Dead Rise. They use the elevator scene, but I don't feel that was as scary as this one. This one was this was scary.
This one was very well done in their makeup department. And again, I love that the possession is so quick. Like, it jumps so quick. The minute a host dies, it's already in somebody else, and you have no idea who that is until shit starts going down.
And that's what I like, because it could just come out of nowhere. 100%. Like, they'll just perfectly fine. That's why I'm saying, like, when she goes in the bathroom, and she's just perfectly fine, and then just tick, 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 and you're looking, and you go, oh. And then you start remembering in the trailer, you're going, wait a minute, oh my God, she's the one that cuts her face with glass. And then you see the scene, and you're like, let's fucking go. Yeah, that was... It's great. And Mia ends up being saved because who we thought was going to be the new Ash Williams, he buried her alive. So that's the whole to get her back to normal. So killing the host just kills the host. It doesn't kill the entity. The burying alive is what actually brought her back. And then the rain of blood and shit. And
well, because I think the whole point of burying her alive was to kill her, because when he brings her back up, he
has to resuscitate her, right?
So it's pretty much killing the host is what gets the entity to jump to somebody else.
Correct. But why didn't it jump to him then?
I can't say for sure whether it jumped to him and just lay dormant for a minute.
Because he was the last one to die to make the blood of rain or whatever it was, annihilation to happen.
Right.
So when she died, wouldn't it have made more sense for the entity to go, well, look who's right here. Hello, Dave, and just go into Dave. I think that was I don't remember what his name was, but oh, it was Dave. Oh, nice. It was David. So, so go right into Dave. But it doesn't, and he just dies because they blow up the house.
The only confusing part I have about that is, why didn't it just go to him? And I'm not sure if it's infection based or.
Well, you're supposed to be touched. It's infection, as in it cuts you. Same thing in Evil Dead Rise. Right. It had to be some sort of touchy. What was it? The daughter with the tattoo. When she takes the thing, slices her up, so the entity is able to enter. He didn't have that, so I guess that was fine. But I don't know. I felt they were coming to the end of the movie and were just like, fuck it.
Yeah. That is the only part of that movie that I'm like, I don't really get it, but I still love this movie and I can completely understand.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. This fucking shit's fucking wild. This movie's awesome.
As far as the possessions go, that, it is the most consistent and widespread possession.
Yes.
It doesn't just affect one person, and it will never just affect one person. Everyone's getting something.
They all getting it, and they're getting it bad.
Yeah.
Even if you, for some reason, can live through it, you're fucked up to the end of it.
Oh. Because you did so much shit while you were possessed, or people did so much shit to you, you can't trust yourself or anybody.
And the one thing I will say, all right, the one thing I guess I wasn't meant with is it's destroying the host's body. And Mia gets fucked up. She gets pretty fucked up. She slices her tongue with the fucking. Oh, that scene's great. When she takes the fucking carving knife. Can you imagine if Olivia
lived and she just fucking cut her face open? So now it's lying slack, but she's a person.
But when Jane Levy ends up coming back to normal, she doesn't have the sliced tongue. That's one thing I'll call bullshit on, because you're still harming the body. So yeah, Olivia's face should still be fucking ripped up. Her tongue should be fucking split in half. She should have a snake tongue. Yes. That scene's fucking dope, though, when she has the fucking carving knife and she's like, and you're like, oh, let's go. Like that.
There's so many scenes in this movie that are I just love this movie so fucking much.
We got to do an episode about this movie because it's really fucking good. And I love talking about it because it's fucking wild.
We have to go more in depth with the Evil Dead. Just, even compare and contrast from original to remake.
I think it should get its own series.
They're beautiful, but they're completely different.
They should get its own series. We'll do a special where we just talk, maybe for a month, we'll just talk Evil Dead.
And if we
well,
do, I'm taking you guys to see Evil Dead the Musical.
I do want to go see it, so
yes,
it'll be
highly
involved.
Recommend. But back onto the topic of the possessions, where would we rate this?
Number 2, hands fucking down. Number 2.
I agree. There's no debate there, especially because, again, it's an entity that infects multiple people. It's not even just one host. Everyone's getting.
If there was no Exorcist in this would be number 1. It's not even a fucking question. The number 2, hands down.
I agree. All right. With the sake of our lovely friends at Strike Media, let's go with Late Night with the Devil.
Okay, let's do it.
I love that this movie basically had elements of different types of possession, from like The Omen to The Exorcist. And I feel like it's a solid possession, but it's also just it wasn't the main focus for us.
No, it's a weirdly enough, I would say it's a fine possession. It's simple. It's nothing too crazy. It doesn't happen much.
It's
classic, normal. Like I said, I know in the episode I mentioned how I thought this movie was going to be different. I thought this movie was literally just going to be an exorcism on late night television. That's what I thought this movie was going to be. It wasn't, thank God. So
it's an exorcism, but not for the person that was possessed.
Yes, exactly. I thought it would be like, oh my God, this chick is possessed and we're going to do a live exorcism, like kind of how they do in Repossessed, but that's a parody comedy movie. So this possession is just simple. It's normal. It's fine. We get the face change, the eyes, the greasy hair, the voice changes, well acted in it. But it's not a long possession. It's very short. And that's fine. It does what it does because that's not what the movie's meant for. That's not what the movie's about. So
correct.
I
feel like it was very classic, very clean.
It's very
It was
clean.
like one of the cleanest possessions I've ever seen.
Very clean.
So, and of course the mode in which she is possessed is cult. Another classic.
Correct. Cult. Same way of defeating it is stabbing it with a knife.
Killing your host.
We're back to killing your host again. But there's a structure behind it. And please go listen to the actual review of Late Night with the Devil to really get that structure in there. I don't want to spoil nothing for anybody on this one. There is an episode.
I was going to say with the whole episode that we just did. Yeah. Go listen to that.
But yeah, to me, again, clean, simple, no issue, does its job, and it's fine for what it is. That's not the point of the movie, so it's fine.
It plays the smallest part, so I feel like it, again, is classic, pays homage to other types of possession movies, and does a real good job with what it is in that story, which is, again, just such a small pinnacle part of that masterpiece.
Yep.
So where would you say we would put this on our
What do we even have available?
We have 4, 5, 6, and 8.
4, 5, 6, and 8. I'd probably give it a 6.
I agree with that.
It's not the worst.
It's not psychological,
right,
like the Babadook.
Right.
And it's up there again with like killing your host and like classic clean exorcism.
Right.
But again, it affects it affects multiple people in the grand scheme of things, but as far as the possessed person itself, I would say it affects the one person, and it goes away when it wants to.
Yeah, or when she allows it.
It still lets Lily in the driver's seat. So, I mean,
Mr. Wiggles.
It's tamed until it no longer needs to be.
Well, and there was a reason for that.
Oh, 100%.
Go listen to the last episode.
Just in terms. Absolutely go listen to the last episode.
Go listen to the last episode.
And watch Late Night with the Devil.
1,000%.
But I would say number 6 is a perfect place for it.
Yeah, I think 6 is fair. Very good.
All right.
Where are we going next?
Tell me, we have your absolute favorite movie in the entire world, Paranormal Activity.
I hate this fucking movie. I really do.
I
don't give a shit.
We're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the
possession, and I'll be honest with you, I hate the possession too. It's the same. Like they found a way. I don't know if they started it. They may have. You know what? Maybe they did start it. The drag. The dragging.
Yes. That seems to be when it kicked in. When
it happens,
instead of it being a haunting,
twice.
It became a possession.
Yeah, because it happens twice. So she does get dragged at one other point, but this time that part. It's just and she's just going in
down the fucking stairs,
down the stairs and into the basement, and you're just like, what? Like when they made the haunted house movie with Marlon Wayans, when it happens to her, and it's just and you're watching, like, that's exactly what it felt like watching. You know, the same. It's bullshit. It's so stupid. But anyway, getting to the actual possession, when she actually gets possessed, she goes into the basement and you just hear, rah! And that's really it. She's completely just a vegetable, you know, at one point. And he was like, maybe we should go. No, I want to stay here. Mm-hmm. And he's the moron. He's the idiot. All he had to do was leave. And I would have divorced the bitch. I wouldn't buy. I'm not dealing with this shit. And that's why that movie is so stupid and so fucking just not realistic. And, you know, it'll be scary if you can try to use some sort of realism and shit. And this one just doesn't do it.
Fuck the movie. Set that aside. With the possession, it's so tame that it's terrible.
Yeah, and like, you get the end, the warp.
Even the look of her when it's showing her possessed, she just seems more catatonic than anything. It's more like somebody on drugs.
And yeah, and then like towards the end when she throws him into the camera and she kind of warps a little bit when she charges at the camera. But it's and it's dark and it's like that blue and black going on because it's in the fucking camera. So you don't really get a good look at it. You could see a warp. You see like the demon sort of kind of like show it's almost like it's showing its cards. It's like, hey, it's me. And you're like, oh, it's Jeff. You know, hey, Jeff, what's up? How you doing? I hope you had lunch today. And that's what I felt like in that. And that's why I think it's garbage. The movie's garbage and the possession's garbage. That scene, the final 10 minutes of the movie is the only reason to probably watch it because, you know.
I wouldn't even say that. Don't watch the whole thing just for that one possession shot that seems pretty cool. Just fucking look up the clip on YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying watch the movie. I'm just saying why. But if you want to get if you're like, I will watch movies, then yes, go watch that movie just to get it on your list. Put it on I've seen the shit. You know, that's what I did. I saw the garbage. Everyone was talking about it and I watched it and it sucks. Possession scene is whack. It's garbage. I understand it's a low budget kind of film. And so it's fine that it's that way, the warping and whatnot. But it just was stupid. And you've ruined a lot of possession movies because of shit like that. Now everybody has to get dragged. It's always the feet drag into the darkness.
The criteria is dragged into a room that you can't see. Therefore, you don't know what happens, but now this person is no longer this person.
Yeah, like we'll drag him down the stairs into the basement. Why you gotta get dragged for? Why you gotta get dragged for? Like we see the dragging, and I'll bring it up, but we see the dragging in The Conjuring, but they used it correctly. They used it where she's getting fucking dragged, and she's like, "Help me!" Like something is pulling me. Yeah, and then like when her husband's there, just like, Richard, help me, and then boom, and you're like, and then the door slams, and you're like, oh shit, like, and they go down there because they don't just sit there and go, well, what's happening here? No, they fucking charge in there, and by then she's already being fucking tossed around. But you're seeing the possession at that moment. She was already, I know she was already possessed, but that's when the transformation happened.
Right.
But that's this one, you don't see
the demon
nothing.
takes the driver's seat.
Yeah, I don't like that part with the fucking blanking over the head. And I don't like that part, what she calls about. But Paranormal Activity, you don't see nothing. It's just fucking, he puts all these cameras up there, but has no camera in the basement.
So I feel like even with our criteria here, it gives us no information because we don't see the transition.
No.
You really don't. It's in there. We don't see the look of the entity when it's inside of her body, except for that last couple minutes where you see the shift. But I feel like that's not the transition itself. That's just literally it's settling.
No.
The mode of possession. We don't even find that out in this first movie.
It takes, I don't know, 4, maybe 3 or 4. No, 4. I think 4 or 5 is when we learn about the cult. Maybe.
Right. We learn about why it's happening. But like in this first movie, we don't even have an answer of why it's happening. No. Because it starts out thinking like, oh, it's a haunted house film. And then it turns into a possession film. And we have no fucking clue as to why that's happening. and then the means of getting rid of it. It's not gone at the end of this movie, so we don't
No.
even have a means of getting rid of it.
No.
It takes forever. So this movie literally gives us nothing about
Zero.
a possession that happens and doesn't show us a damn thing.
Fuck this movie.
Fuck this possession.
Fuck this possession. Fuck this movie. God, I hate it.
I feel like I know exactly where this goes on our tier list.
It's number 8.
And I'm assuming you would agree with me by saying it is number 8.
It's number 8.
Absolute fucking.
It doesn't
worst.
even deserve to be on the list. There's better movies that have better possessions. But due to it being on the list, yes, it has to go number 8.
For this list, it is number 8.
Fucking 1,000%. Fuck this movie.
All right. So let's stray away from that. So
what do we have available?
We'll cleanse ourselves of that.
What's available?
We have number 4 and 5.
4 and 5 are available. Okay, with 2 movies to go.
For our last 2.
Okay.
We have The Possession.
Mm-hmm.
This one, for those of you that haven't seen the movie, it is, more of a Jewish background demon. It takes place, the mode of possession happens to be a box. What is it, like the Dybbuk box?
Yes.
So the Dybbuk box holds this demon, and it has been harbored in this box. The little girl finds it at a garage sale. She fucking takes it home. She's obsessed with this box. Dad tries to throw it away. The box already has a hold on her. It's like whispering to her and talking to her. And finally, in the wake of different traumatic experiences of a child, divorce is one of them.
Yes.
Greatly affects their brain and their development. And yeah, she's just obsessed with this fucking Dybbuk box, and this demon inside this box decides to take over from the very beginning just by, whispering to her. And that transition, when it finally takes over for her, comes in the form of all those bugs entering her body.
Those are moths.
Moths, yes.
Yeah, and they go into that part was wild because he tossed it in the garbage. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, by the way,
dumpster.
Dumps it in the dumpster. She goes and gets it, and the box opens on its own, and then like a fucking tornado, and then right into her mouth, and you're like, whoa.
It's one of those scenes I will never forget is her under the street light. It's
yes.
very dim, but her standing with her head back and her body kind of convulsing.
Accepting.
Yeah, after all of those fucking moths enter her face.
And there's 2 possessions in this movie, too.
Yes.
2 possessions. And this one's good. And the second one was like, ooh, we got shit's happening right now. So, her possession, but this shit's wild. There's that one part when she's in the garage, and I think the boyfriend of the mother saying some shit with the fucking box, and her eyes roll in the back of her head, and her hole in her front. Shit's wild. And what I love about this movie too is because it focuses on the Jewish background and whatnot. It takes place. They go to Brooklyn. They go all the way to fucking Brighton Beach, which is fucking where Mr. Malave actually is located in Brooklyn. And that shit is fucking Modest Yahoo. That's Modest Yahoo. We love Modest Yahoo. He's a Jewish rapper.
Yeah.
Reggae artist. And he's in the movie. The rabbis are not for this. They're like, we are not dealing with that shit because that ain't fucking happening.
They blatantly say absolutely fucking not. Dybbuk box, we out.
Yeah, we're not dealing with it because the demon is one that takes children. That's the whole concept of what the demon is about. And so Modest Yahoo is the one that's I'm going to help you. And you're like, fuck yeah, and he's going to do King Without a Crown after he's done. He's going to perform. And the exorcism is fucking crazy. That they go to the hospital, which I thought was really strange because there was actually people in the hospital, but they found that one spot where there's a pool and shit.
Oh,
and they actually
the therapy pool.
Yeah, the therapy pool, and they start doing the actual exorcism in there, and this shit is wild. That shit is nuts. Where she just lifts up and she's ready to go.
And it shows they take her to the hospital because again, they don't know what it is and they don't really have that background. It shows that they're trying other means first because they're this has to be a medical issue. And then it is clear as day it's not a medical issue.
Right. Clear as day it's not a medical issue. Jeffrey D. Morgan walks into her room and there's moths all over the fucking room and it's just swimming around when she has the box open. That shit is insane. But it's fucking dope.
Oh, yeah.
But it's dope. And then the
way they did the exorcism, too, is...
wild.
Because it's not even so much that you get rid of the demon. You just trap it back in the box.
That's the whole point.
And then you have to remove the box.
And you have to tell it to go in there.
The box still has a hold.
Yes, and you have to, and that's what I kind of like too, is Matisyahu, his character, because he's not a rabbi, though. That's one thing they make it very clear. He's not a rabbi. He's just a young, I don't know, whatever they want to call it. He's maybe trying to be a rabbi.
Like he's practicing, but he's not.
Right, his dad runs the
given
temple.
The status yet.
Right, his dad's running the temple. He's just here to help. He believes him and he wants to help out for the kid. And it shows like with the exorcism of that, I have the power. You get in that box. I have the power. And I like that, where it's like, if you know the incantation and you could say the words correctly and you do all this, you do have the power and you can command it to do it, which is a fucking awesome scene when everything seems great. The girl's better. They're all hugging. And then he's like, wait a minute, something's wrong. Something's not right. And he calls out the fucking demon. And that's when Jeffrey Dean Morgan goes lim. And you're going, oh my God, it possessed him. And that part is wild, and he's starting to fight with it. Puts him in the side. He starts reading not him. I think the girl starts to do it. Like the sister starts to read it because I think he's getting fucked up. Matisyahu is getting his ass whipped. And then it comes out of him, and it looks like a fucking child. Like
when you see it coming out of his mouth, that is another scene that stuck.
That's the cover of the film.
Yeah. It's just like this thing that's huge coming out of you. It's like a person coming out of your mouth.
It is. It's like a child. That
the hand comes out and grabs his face that's like using leverage to pull.
Yes.
Wild.
And it comes out looking like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. It's like Gollum coming out of you.
Gollum coming out. And then that's where it's just like in the box, then they're just coming in the box. Get in the box, you little shit. And he does.
It's like telling a dog to go in its kennel.
And it does, though. It goes in the box. And it's like, okay, I'll see you later. And then we find out
they have
later.
The power.
You, at that moment, have the power, which I kind of like that. I like that whole concept of being able to say the words, know what you're doing, have the faith, because that's always important, where you have the power over the demon to be like, no, you leave, go in there, go fuck yourself. And what happens at the end anyway? He takes the box. I'm going to take the box and we're going to make everything better. And then he gets hit by a semi-truck because there's evil in this shit. It's like, I have the power too, motherfucker. Yeah, but that motherfucker was like, I'm still evil and you're in trouble. And he dies.
Yeah. But I do love that it's a matter of being able to control this thing and then put it back in its place and have it where you can transport it anywhere, but the evil still lies. It's still there. It's still in control of itself and its surroundings and still able to affect its surroundings.
Right.
So I feel like the means of getting rid of it are not present. But it is one where you do not have to kill your host.
No, you can get rid of it as in you can get rid of the possessed host. You can get rid of the demon out of the host.
Yes, but that box is still going to be around.
But yeah, the box is not going anywhere. It's like Jumanji in a sense. Like you throw it off the fucking river, throw it into the river. It's going to eventually find somewhere else, make the sounds, boom, boom, boom. And it made sounds too. Didn't it make like fucking...
Yeah.
Like knocking sounds?
It had knocking sounds, it had fluttering sounds, and it had like whispers. Like,
right, so
even if they were indiscernible whispers, it would like hone in on the box and you'd hear like...
Right, yeah. It's just Jumanji with possessed and Jewish people.
Yes, imagine like a Jewish demon Jumanji.
Ah, yes. That's what it is. With Matisyahu, of course.
With Matisyahu.
Because he's awesome.
So in our list, we have 4 and 5 spots available. Where would you put the possession?
That's a tough one because I know the next movie coming too, and they could technically be flipped back and forth due to it being more of just a sense of being like different with the religion, that moths which are just fucking nasty, and Jeffrey D. Morgan's in it, so it also gives it a plus. I think I would have to give it a 4.
I would say a 4 as well, also because of the transition with the possession. So when you see her eyes rolling in the back of her head, or like her eye is like off this way staring at the box, and like
that part's wild.
The the effects that they put for her face to have it show that, like, hey, the demon is in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not her. I feel like that was perfect. And like when she's looking in the mirror and she's like trying to see it in the back of her throat and you see like the eyeball pop up, like, I feel like that one right there, all of that right there gives it the number 4 spot.
Yeah, fucking wild.
And so this last movie, Tommy, we only have the number 5 spot available, so we know it's going to go on number 5. But I want you to tell me about Idle Hands, because I have not seen this movie yet. It is on my list to watch between tonight and tomorrow now that you have told me a little bit about it. But tell us about the possession of Idle Hands.
So, okay, first let me just break this down to you. This is a 1999 film. It is a comedy horror. It stars Devon Sawa, Seth Green, Jessica Alba, and Vivica A. Fox.
I didn't know Alba was in it. All right.
Yes, she's the girlfriend. If you look at the poster, it's a parody of The Craft. So this movie it's a stoner movie. Like, smokes the weed, watch the shit. You're gonna have a great fucking time. So pretty much what happens is Devon Sawa's character's hand gets possessed. Just his hand. That's it. And he just goes on... Just the hand. And he goes on a fucking murder spree. But just his hand. So, like, his hand... So, all right. What'll happen... Now, here's the thing. We don't know how he gets possessed. I mean, I haven't seen it a little bit, and we tried to do a little research before we even started, just to double check. They don't actually explain how he gets possessed. I thought it had something to do with pot, but I don't remember. I do know that...
Again, it's kind of like the Emily Rose of it can happen to anybody at any time.
Kind of, pretty much, exactly. And what happens is there are murders that start occurring. His parents get killed, and then eventually his friends get killed, and he has no idea why this is happening because he doesn't know what's going on, not realizing it's him the whole time, but it's not him, it's his fucking hand. And it's just fucking insane. The Offspring is in this movie, and they perform a concert, and one of them gets scalped. So the big part about this one is that Devon Sawa has to figure out a way to stop killing people because he's not physically doing it. It's his hand that's doing it. It's possessed. So he uses a meat cleaver to chop his hand off, sticks it in a microwave, and tries to explode it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. And the hand is now the thing from the Addams Family. And just waltzing around. The whole point is it's trying to kill his girlfriend, Jessica Alba, and bring her to hell.
Specifically, the girlfriend?
For some reason, has this thing. So, all right. So this is the backstory on the demonic entity. It possesses people's hands and causes them to kill before taking their actual souls to hell itself. But this specific hand is very much interested in killing Jessica Alba's character. That's like the fucking goal of this hand is like, I'm going to kill everything around that deals with him, killing the parents, killing the friends, which, by the way, the friends come back and they're like guardian angels and they're dead. And it's great. Like the kid from fucking the Mighty Ducks is in it and his head gets decapitated. And so the whole movie, he's walking around holding his head and he's like moving his head around. Seth Green has a bottle in his fucking head and he's like a zombie. And they're just there to help Devon Sawa in the long run. But they're mad at him because they also were killed by him and his hand, and half the time they're high. So it's wild.
I was already sold on watching this, but now I definitely want to watch this. So the possessed hand, does it just look like his hand, or like does it starts to look like it's got...
It starts to transform a little bit more like a greenish black color. It gets a lot of veins going in there. Obviously, once he sticks it in the microwave, it like gets blacker and more red and like the burnt and whatnot. But it's so insane because it gets very crispy. It's literally the thing from the Addams Family, just fucking hopping around, stabbing people, grabbing people's fucking heads and ripping them off and scalping them and shit. Like, it's nuts.
You know, now I'm wondering if it's the Thing's origin story.
Maybe. It might be the Thing's cousin. Cousin It. That's It. You know, they have Cousin It, even though I know Cousin It's the one with all the hair, but, you know, that could be Cousin It too. Cousin fucking Finger. Like, that thing it's a really funny fucking movie. And, you know, a lot of people, it's a stupid stoner flick. It is, but it's wild. Like, it's so crazy. And it's very gory. Like, shit
it
gets
sounds
real.
like, even since I haven't seen it, I can't speak for the story, but it sounds like it's an interesting possession in itself because it only possesses a hand
and it's
instead
funny.
of a host.
And
so
it's
it
funny
makes it
because
very difficult to prove that your host is infected until it's too late.
Until the hand's cut off where you can really start to see, it's a fucking hand. And what's cool is because Devon Sawa, like, again, they're stoners. He's constantly smoking weed. Even while his hand's possessed, he's smoking weed. Like, he's getting high as shit. So he's bugging out his hands, like, going like this and shit. And he's just, he's puffing on a fucking joint. He's killing fucking people. He's trying to find the hand, but he's got to get high at the same time. That's why it's really cool. Like, Vivica A. Fox's character, she's into, like, the witchcraft and all that demon type of shit. She's the one with the fucking demon knife, her magical knife or whatever it is. And they stab the hand, and then after the hand gets stabbed, it blows smoke out because it's a pothead, and then it just disappears. What?
Huh.
And you're like, yeah, this is great because the hand smokes too. Because the hand can smoke because it's cut from here, right? So he can take a hit.
Do we see the hand smoking?
I think so. I think we do. If I'm not mistaken, I think we see it maybe one time it takes a hit or some shit. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but I think because, again, it blows smoke from its hand. So it's high as shit.
I'm excited to watch that.
It's a high hand.
Smoke.
It's really funny. But it's such a fucking funny movie. And like the tagline of the movie is literally the comedy that gives horror films the backhand. Like,
that's beautiful.
Come on. Like, not another teen movie had a horror movie. This is where this came from.
So, I feel like the number 5 spot is deserved for that because it's a creative possession.
Yeah.
It has unknown means of how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
The transition is literally just for the hand.
Just for the hand.
And again, what you said, his hand kills those around him, and he has no idea what's happening. So it does affect multiple people just, on the terms of self instead of the actual possession.
1,000%.
And to get rid of it, there is a definite way to get rid of it. By stabbing it.
Yes, by stabbing it with a special knife from Vivica A. Fox.
So, I feel like the number 5 spot is deserved for that.
I think that's fair.
That is a creative possession.
It's very creative, and like I said, The Offspring is in this, and they perform "I Want to Be Sedated" by fucking the Ramones, and it's a must see. It's wild. All right, does it hold up? I mean, we're talking about 1999 compared to now. If you've seen it before, yeah, you'd probably still be like, yeah, it's like does Dude Where's My Car fucking hold up? Yeah, it's still funny. So yeah, this movie's still funny.
Well, I look forward to watching it.
I would definitely say watch it.
With that concludes our tier list. So I just want to run through it again. We have, for our possessions, we've got The Exorcist, The Evil Dead remake 2013,
mm-hmm.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Possession, Idle Hands, Late Night with the Devil,
okay,
The Babadook,
mm-hmm.
and Paranormal Activity.
Rightfully so.
It feels like a solid list, Tommy.
I think it's a solid list, yeah. I like that.
And, you could turn around now. I don't think they're here anymore.
No, not doing it.
Good. We're good. But, until then, we're going to wait for Matt to come back and cleanse the classroom.
Definitely needs to do that.
But, out of all that, are there any movies that you feel should have taken over a spot?
The Conjuring. 1, 2.
Just the franchise as a whole.
No, not the third one. Not the third one. Definitely 1 and 2. The second Annabelle was pretty good. That possession was pretty wild. Ouija, The Origin of Evil, the second Ouija movie. That was actually on my list, and I removed it for Idle Hands. But the second Ouija movie is fucking dope. That's a dope ass fucking movie. I was going to say Malignant, but Malignant's not possession.
Yeah. It's a possession movie with no possession.
Because it's there. It doesn't really possess her, like, because she's asleep when it technically happens.
It's always been there. Yeah.
But yeah, that one, I like that one too. But I would say if I had to remove Paranormal Activity for besides a Conjuring movie, it would probably be Ouija, The Origin of Evil, because goddamn, there's one scene in that where the little girl, I don't know, have you seen it?
For the Ouija?
Yeah.
I saw the first one. I haven't seen the second.
Watch the second one. The second one's a million times better. But the reason that one's really good, there's one scene because what's his face is in it? Henry Thomas, Elliot from E.T. He's in it, and there's just there's one scene that fucking got me. Like, she's downstairs talking, the girl's upstairs, she's possessed, and her mouth is wide open, her eyes are rolled in the back. It's fucking wild. That's how she's able to like hear. So that shit's crazy. Smile, I would also say, has better possession because of the suicide thing. In order to you got to kill, then they get possessed, and then the smiles and all that shit. That shit's wild. So I would say those two films for sure, 1,000% are million times better than Paranormal Activity's possession scenes, and from there.
Well, it definitely sounds like we have a little bit more work to do. For our tier lists. But,
sure.
On that vein, I think the bell is about to ring. And also, it looks like there are some chairs starting to levitate.
All right, then we have to go.
Don't turn around. So we're going to wrap this up.
We have to go.
Get the fuck out of here.
Have to go.
So, Tommy, say your goodbyes.
All right, thank you, everybody, for listening. My name is Tommy James, a.k.a. Mr. It Was So Smooth, a.k.a. The Smooth Effect himself. I am the movie guy, baby. And I loves to talk about the movies, and I love to talk about them horror movies. Please go ahead and make sure you enroll with Night School Horror. Please subscribe. You need to subscribe. You got to subscribe because we need you to become a follower, become a student at Night School Horror. And hey, rate us, give us some comments. Tell us what you think. We got more coming for you. Please go back, listen to Late Night with the Devil episode right now is taking off. It's on the charts, baby. We on the charts, baby. So again, thank you so much. And I'm very excited for the next episode to come because semesters 2 is about to be done. We're almost finished. It's almost over.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, semester 2 is almost finished, and we want to hear from more of you. We want you guys to be able to enroll and subscribe so you can come on and tell us about your favorite scary movies. Tell us about your favorite horror experiences. But, until then, keep up with us on our socials, subscribe, enroll, listen to us, make sure to rate us, and also stay creepy, but stay safe.